Hi, this is Randall here in Texas.
And I'm Matt, here in Michigan. Today, Randall and I are doing a review from a viewer request. It's actually one of Randall's friends, Josh. Josh wants us to review the 1999 movie Mystery Alaska. It stars Russell Crowe, Hank Azaria, Mary McCormack, Cole Meany, Lolita Davidovich, Mari Chaikin, Ron Eldard, Scott Grimes, Kevin Durand, and Burt Reynolds. It's directed by Jay Roach, who's also known for Trumbo, Bombshell, the Austin Powers movies, as well as Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers.
This film had a $28 million budget, but only made $8.9 million. It had a poor critical response, but it's mostly well liked by fans. It tells the story of a small fictional town, Mystery, Alaska, who has a group of skaters who just play hockey. It's their only thing they love to do. The entire town is wrapped up in it. They get a chance to play against the New York Rangers to prove whether or not they really are as good as they think they are. Matt, this movie goes back a ways with us. Now, having rewatched it, what do you think about it?
I like this movie. I enjoyed it when I first watched it. And when I first watched it, it was actually at Randall's when we were in like high school or maybe college, but I think it was high school when we first watched this movie. And I enjoy it today. Do I think it's a great sports movie or a great movie? I don't know if it's great, but it's fun. I enjoyed this movie. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's not Hoosiers, okay? It's not Remember the Titans or anything like that, but I really enjoy it. I think as far as hockey movies, especially hockey movies in the 90s, you had, Mighty Ducks D2 and Mystery Alaska. Well, we don't talk about Mighty Ducks 3.
Now that's clearing the garbage. Hey man, we're just getting warmed up.
I like it for more than just the sport aspects of it. I think that it's got really good portrayals by the actors. It's got a monster cast, like Matt went over already. A lot of them, they just nail the characters they're playing, and that's fantastic for me. If anyone's been watching us for a while, you know I'm a sucker for good characters.
Big. Uh-huh. Yeah. Not that big.
All in all, it's a good comedic dramedy sports movie. And what else can I ask in that? And it's hockey. They chose hockey, not basketball or any normal sport.
Yeah, like the other reviews that we've said before, like good sports movies also have other good story elements where sports, is kind of the focus, but the main story is in the backdrops of it. We talked already about League of Their Own and also the Sandlot, two baseball movies, but this one's a hockey movie. One of the things I like, you mentioned about the actors and the characters in this, I agree with you. I love them completely. And the decisions they make, there's reasons for the decisions that they make. And they go over that. I like that about this film. People don't just make mistakes and then you go on and people are like, you know what, I made a mistake. People try to give you a little backstory and tell you why they made those decisions, what the hardships that they're going through, what it's like being in this small town.
Yeah, and both of us coming from a small town, you could definitely see some of that small town, you know, interplay there. Everyone knows what everyone else is up to kind of thing, and things get around really quickly. One of the things you pointed out though is that Sandlot. I actually noted down that this is basically just a lot like the Sandlot. They play hockey in this town because they love the game of hockey. In fact, it's set out in like the first 2 minutes. There's a small synopsis of these players and what they do. And it's just the same as the Sandlot, where they played baseball just because they love to play baseball. These characters, they play hockey just because they love to play hockey. A lot of everything else that happens revolves around the game. Burt Reynolds' character, he plays the judge in this, and there's an incident with the firearm at the local store, and the jury, made up of nothing but townsfolk, small townsfolk, acquit him when he really did shoot at the guy. And yeah, admittedly, it ricocheted, blah, blah, blah. But Burt Reynolds' character says,
You have exalted this game above what is right, but you have your star center back.
and that's his character. And it's so in character, but at the same time, it's in character for the town to just do anything for the game of hockey.
It's funny, before that court scene, the defendant is kind of like, "Oh, I don't want to trial. I might miss the game." And his lawyers basically tell him like they're not going to send their lead scorer to jail before we play the New York Rangers.
and the other attorney overhears him and he's like,
Yep, it's gonna be a long trial.
well, a lot of the comedy in this also comes from just the small town relationships that we were alluding to earlier, and honestly, most of it's just not something that we can even put on our reviews. This is a rated R film, and it deserves to be rated R, honestly. But Matt, they were perky.
I didn't even get the condom on. It was because of your sister's breasts. They're perky.
That's funny too. There are real memorable moments in this. I think that's another thing that makes it like a good kind of sports movie. Like we already talked about Caddyshack, and as a movie, Caddyshack isn't really all that great of a movie, but they have moments in that movie that make it memorable. And that's the thing too. There's moments like that in this movie that also make it memorable. And I think that kind of gives some lasting impact of that. And it's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned the rated R film, because I was kind of like surprised at first. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a rated R film? And then once I was watching again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely a rated R film, which is kind of interesting because a lot of these sports movies are aimed more at like kids and stuff, but this, it would be definitely aimed at young adults to older adults kind of thing. It really does have adult themes, like talk about adultery and stuff in this film. There is definitely adult themes in this movie.
One of the main characters' names is Skank. That's his nickname, is Skank. And it's Skank for a reason, you know?
We're sleeping together, for God's sakes.
Skank, we're committing adultery. It's not like I threw in trust as a perk.
I have to, no surprise to anyone who knows me. I've already said this in one of our previous in Gladiator. Russell Crowe is like my favorite actor. He's my BFF. I wish we were BFFs. And I really do genuinely like his portrayal of the character Mike, Beebe in this. He's the town sheriff, but he's also like the heart and soul of the team. But he's getting a little up there in age, and they're trying to kick him off the team. And he does a really good job with his character playing the straight-laced character in this movie, because he does a good job being the town sheriff and separating himself from the game. And he's also wholly devoted to his team and his players when he is playing the game. And his character is also a loving family man, and he's understandably jealous when Hank Azaria's character comes back, and that's his wife's ex from high school, and he's like,
Sweetheart, I know your smiles. That smile is not for me.
I love his portrayal of this character. I think he nailed it, and he plays the middle ground for all of the other extremes. The judge is the extreme one side, and then the town is the extreme the other side, and here he is right in the middle. I would watch it just for that.
Oh yeah, Russell Crowe does an excellent job. I think all the actors do a really good job in this movie. They all play their role, and they all play their role well. These aren't just kind of like one-off characters that you only notice like one thing, they kind of go off. Though maybe like the goalie might be a little bit, and we have Kevin Durant, who's like the big guy.
I'm a big guy!
Okay.
But they also give him some like heartfelt scenes too, especially when the lawyer dies in the courtroom and Kevin Durant is there. I mean, a lot of these characters, even though they could be just minor throwaway characters, also have some big roles to play in this film.
Yeah, they all have their things that they do. And honestly, we can't talk about Mystery Alaska and a hockey movie without talking about the big scene, the actual hockey game between Mystery and the New York Rangers. I'm super happy, very much like with our review of Ben-Hur, where we finally get to the chariot scene. I'm very happy that in this, it takes up a huge amount of runtime. It's like 20 to 25 minutes of just the game. Now, obviously, that's not a full hockey game, but it is a huge chunk out of a 2-hour film to dedicate to just a hockey game. But keeping with what this town is about and what the people are about, it works for the movie. And, despite what the detractors say, I think they get a lot right about hockey. I guess maybe that's just Michigan coming out.
It does use the hockey to play into the film itself. You see that you can tell that the people that made this movie do have respect for the game.
Mike Myers makes kind of a slight cameo in this, and he's like, hey, I don't like the tic-tac hockey playing. And I'm like, no, 1999, that was what the Red Wings were doing, winning Stanley Cups, you know? They were very, very excellent, proficient passers. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I get you, you're just here to make fun of things, but boo.
Yeah, Mike Myers was playing the role well. He's the the loudmouth commentator that kind of goes against the town, because that a lot of this movie, that's all it's about.
He's the Skip Bayless of the hockey world.
The Skip Bayless of the hockey world. This whole movie mainly is about this town, and hockey is the identity of this town, and they were big on their pride. It's Mystery Alaska. It's this town that's out in the middle of nowhere. Like, we begin this movie with the look at the mountains and stuff, and you have one hockey player skating on a frozen river. Like, that's a good setup for what this town is. It's excluded, and yet hockey is the main focus and stuff. And Mike Myers' character is challenging everything about this town, what this town holds dear.
I'm unapologetic about it. I love this film. I've always liked it. I've liked it since I watched it. I liked it watching it this time. I liked introducing my wife to it. So, and if you like hockey and you haven't seen it, shame on you. Please go watch it. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yep, I agree. Like we already said, I think this is a good, enjoyable movie. It's not an automatic classic like A League of Their Own or Hoosiers, but it's definitely enjoyable to watch, and if you're a hockey fan, you should check it out too. What do you guys think of our review? If you like our review of Mystery Alaska, give us a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified about our latest videos. We upload every Monday and Thursday. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page. We'll post a day before our videos come out to let you know what the next topic is going to be. In Michigan, I'm Matt. Have a good day.
And I'm Randall, here in Texas. I'll see everyone later.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.